everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing very well today. So today's video is one of my favorite videos to film every single year. I look forward to it every year because fall is one of my favorite times of year. As with most people, I feel like most people really enjoy just kind of the change of season, especially after a very hot summer. I live here in South Texas and it's very hot all the time, it feels like. And so fall is just kind of like a fresh new start. It's a way to kind of enjoy cooler weather and maybe just some more vampy makeup and going to the pumpkin patches and all of the things. And so today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite fall palettes for 2022. I did film this video back in 2021, 2020, and so I will have those links down below in the description box if you want to check out those videos. A lot of those still apply. Honestly, I could probably be a broken record on all of these palettes. For the most part though, I want to say all of these palettes are palettes I have not spoken about in that video. So all of these should be newer for me to kind of discuss with you guys today, but let's go ahead and get started. So firstly, the palette that started it all, that inspired this entire video, is the newest Too Faced fall palette, and that is the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice Second Slice palette. And I will have close-ups and swatches for you guys of these palettes, but this is a really good one, you guys. At first, I wasn't going to get this one because I own all of the Too Faced fall palettes, but I decided to go ahead and pick it up because I have heard nothing but great things about this one, and honestly it is a very, very high performing palette. I was a little bit concerned because it's coming in this cardboard packaging, and usually they come in a tin cased packaging. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with that packaging from Too Faced, and those are usually more well known as being better quality from Too Faced, but this is a really good palette, you guys. I will say, looking at this palette, you don't have a lot of shimmer shade options, and that's something that usually, you know, I'm looking for within my palettes, but still the quality is really good. The mattes perform very, very well. If you liked the Too Faced Gingerbread Extra Spicy palette, which is one of my personal favorites, I think you will enjoy this one, and I think it'll be a nice kind of refresh since of course that palette is no longer available. So yeah, really happy with this one and happy I picked it up because the quality is very, very good. Another palette that has kind of taken, I don't know if it's taken the internet by storm by any means, but a lot of people are talking about it, and it is the new Tarte Man-Eater After Dark eyeshadow palette. So I wasn't going to pick this one up, but I decided that I wanted to try this out because it looked absolutely beautiful. I thought the color story was one that I couldn't pass up personally, and I found it at Ulta in store, and I decided to go ahead and pick it up. I still had like my $10 off coupon for my birthday, so I decided to grab it. And honestly, first off, the packaging is just absolutely stunning. I absolutely love the cheetah print, but the color story inside is just stunning. It is very, very beautiful, and it performs very well. This is a very high performing palette from Tarte. The only palettes that I've tried from Tarte are the Tartelette and Bloom palette, as well as the Tartelette Juicy palette, like the first larger sized one. And I'm not super impressed with the Juicy palette, but the Tartelette and Bloom is pretty nice. This performs even better than that one in my opinion. The shimmer shades in this palette are stunning. I think they perform very, very well. I love the mattes that they've included in this palette also. I feel like it gives you a lot of variety. You have a lot of depth that you can create within this palette, and it is an ultimate fall palette. I mean, you have some greens in here, some burgundies, some beautiful rosy tones, as well as some really beautiful golds as well. I feel like ultimately this is kind of the fall palette that kind of like, I feel like this is the ultimate palette for 2022. Usually Too Faced is kind of the one to kind of set that tone for us, but honestly this Tarte Man-Eater palette is kind of the fall palette of the year for me because it is just a stunning color story, and I feel like they did a really great job with it. Another palette that I'm actually really excited to play around with, I haven't used it yet, embarrassingly enough, but it is from Colourpop, and it's the Orchid You Not palette. This is a stunning, stunning palette, and I cannot wait to play around with it. It is beautiful. It's very, very rich in purple tones, and I just really, really enjoy these little 9-pan palettes from Colourpop because I feel like they're very affordable and they have great, great quality and pigmentation within the shades. shades, and this is beautiful for fall and honestly for winter as well. I'll probably use it for both seasons, but I am really excited to get these very vampy kind of cranberry looks with this palette, something that's a little bit more plum. And honestly, purple is one of my favorite colors to play around with when it comes to playing with color and makeup, and this is a great way for me to kind of get color, but also for it to be kind of vampy. This with a berry lip would be beautiful, with maybe winged liner if I can pull it off. But yeah, it is a beautiful palette and I'm really excited to play around with this one. Going back to 2021, this was the palette that Too Faced launched last year. So this was Too Faced palette, fall palette last year, and that is the Too Faced Cinnamon Swirl palette. This was a favorite of mine last year. I really liked it. I really enjoy the formula in this one. I didn't talk about this one in my fall palettes video last year because I had just purchased it at that point, but I can, you know, confidently recommend this palette now. I think this one is still available. If not, if you purchased it last year, pull it out, use it this year because it is beautiful for fall. I really enjoy also just kind of how neutral this palette is, because a lot of the times, just like this year's palette, it's very warm toned from Too Faced, but this one does lean a little bit more neutral in comparison to all of the other ones that they've released. So I enjoy this one. Pull it out if you have it already. Of course, the packaging is just really, really cute also. But yes, Too Faced Cinnamon Swirl is definitely a win for fall this year. Another palette that I purchased this year, but it's been around for a while, so some of you may already have this palette. And this is a way for you to kind of incorporate color, again, kind of going back to the Colourpop Orchid You Not palette. And it's going to be in a way that's going to still be pretty appropriate for fall, and that is the BH Cosmetics Avocado Toast palette. So I know that this can kind of be maybe spring or summer, but for some reason when I look at this palette, and I don't know if it's because of these very rich greens here, I would definitely consider this a fall palette because you have these beautiful kind of emerald colors and these forest green colors that would make a beautiful, beautiful kind of like, you know, green smoky eye or halo eye. And honestly, green is another way that I love to incorporate color. I prefer purple, but depending on the color green and depending on the type of look that I can go with, I do love playing around with green as well. And so I think if you have this palette, don't put it away for fall. Pull it out, play with the more darker greens and see what looks you come up with, because I do think it would be very beautiful for fall. All right, a newer palette that came out this year, and I want to say it was between spring and summer, but I do think it is a very, very good contender for fall palettes. That is the ABH Nouveau palette, or just the Nouveau palette. This is stunning, you guys, and ABH's formula is absolutely beautiful. I love the formula within this palette. It is very, very stunning. My favorite shade is Lily within the palette. It's so, so pretty. The shimmer shades and the shimmer quality in this palette are no joke. But honestly, these greens and of course like this little kind of like terracotta color is perfect for fall in my opinion. And it really does, if you cover the purple, it really does scream like a fall palette in my opinion. Especially this like blue-green shifty shade is perfect for fall also. And yeah, I can definitely see this one being a good contender for fall. Pull it out if you have it. I'm sure a lot of you picked this one up because ABH is a very hot brand. I feel like most people pick up their new releases, especially when it's an eyeshadow palette, because a lot of people enjoy the ABH formulas. I know I do. And so I will be playing around with this one some more for fall as well. All right, my second to last palette that I'm going to be talking about. This one I actually have not tried yet, so I'm probably cheating, but that's okay because I'm really, really hopeful that this palette will perform beautifully because I am thoroughly impressed with the brand already, and that is Half Caked. So Half Caked is a very affordable indie brand. You can only purchase them online as far as I know. You can purchase directly from the Half Caked website or from Amazon. I believe they have an Amazon store and they have great quality products. I have favorite cream blushes from them. They have great brow products. They have great a great cream bronzer, and I'm really excited to play around with their eyeshadow palette. So this is the Pretty Precious 9pan palette. This is a beautiful cool toned palette. This can also work really well for winter, especially because of these beautiful gray tones and more like mauve tones. But honestly, I think this one can work really, really well for fall, especially with this beautiful emerald color. And whenever I swatched this palette, the quality seemed beautiful. The shimmer the shimmers seemed very, very nice, and I'm really looking forward to playing around with this palette. I think I'll be impressed with it. I think I'll like it. And so I also really enjoy cool toned color stories, so I'm really looking forward to playing around with this one. But let me know, have you tried anything from Calf Caked? If so, do you love it as much as I do? I think they're a really high performing brand for such affordable prices, and I cannot wait to dip into this one because I love cool toned looks. And finally, the palette that is my most expensive recommendation, but I still really, really enjoy this palette, and I think it's going to be beautiful for fall and winter. And that is the newest Mothership palette. It's the Moonlit Seduction palette from Pat McGrath. This is stunning, and I have thoroughly enjoyed playing around with this one so far, and honestly, I just think it's so beautiful. This palette is perfect for fall in my opinion, and again, you won't be able to tell looking right at it, but this shade right here is this beautiful kind of blue-green or green-brown kind of shifty shade, and it's perfect for fall in my opinion, especially accompanying it with these beautiful burgundy tones. I know Pat McGrath does a lot of the same color stories when she includes rosy tones, burgundy tones, neutrals, but I like that because if it's a palette that I'm going to spend so much money on, I want to make sure that I'm going to get my use out of it. I want to make sure that it's going to be colors that I use often, and honestly, this is it. The shimmer shades are so beautiful. My husband and I went to a concert a couple of weeks ago, and I wore this palette and did not regret it. It was beautiful. I loved the look that I came up with, and I actually have a get ready with me using this palette. It was actually my last get ready with me, so I will link that one down below in case you wanted to see the look that I created with this palette. But yes, definitely Moonlit Seduction. Don't feel like you have to run out and go purchase this palette by any means. It's very pricey. Wait for her to have a sale. I actually was able to get this one and the Bronze Seduction palette in a duo for about 80 bucks, and that is a great deal because, was it 80 bucks? No. I think it was 120, between 120 and 130. I don't know why I said 80. I think because these palettes 30% off are around the $80 range, but no, I got this palette and Bronze Seduction for I think 120, and that is a great price because I basically got two palettes for the price of one. So be on the lookout for any Pat McGrath sales, especially if you're wanting to check out that palette. But those are all of the palettes that I wanted to talk about in today's video. These are the palettes that I'm going to be playing around with during the fall season. Of course, there are so many other palettes that you can play around with. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to know which palettes you're pulling for the fall season, which palettes you recommend maybe for me to try. But if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of my YouTube channel family here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye.
Maybe one day it'll be easy.